All right, this is David Frost. It is Tuesday, November 19th. Today, the title is What is She Saying Today? That is, what is the market saying today? So let's take a look. First, we're going to look at the 60-minute chart of the SPY. And what we have here is a big bar, big red bar down. This was yesterday. And since then, we've had inside bar consolidation, right? We have a bearish consolidation pattern or a bear flag pattern, another decent sized red bar down, and it looks like we're consolidating again. So if I were to say, what are the probabilities tomorrow morning? Low probability we get up to the red line here, which is the 20 period moving average on the hourly chart. But another bar or two, maybe an hour or two consolidation, and it would be easy to see some more downside. First stop would be in this area about 178.5, which is the 50 period moving average. Big number for tomorrow on a pivot basis, meaning where the market is really going to be fought between the bulls and the bears, is probably about the 177.20 area, which would coincide with about 1772 on the SPY. That's a big level. It's right about here. Okay, if we get down there tomorrow, pretty good chances that there's a little more downside to be had. But we'll see what happens. We'll play it by the numbers as we always do and go from there. So let's just take a look at the daily chart of the S&P. And really the daily chart hasn't told us anything yet. It's maybe rolling over, but not out of the realm of possibility to start back up this way. So we don't have a signal on the daily chart. It's not telling us anything. Therefore, really, we're flat in terms of a daily basis on the S&P. Don't have an opinion one way or the other at this point. So let's take a look at a couple other things. I thought we would look at stock that's been in the news last couple of days. CRM is Salesforce.com, big cloud services tech company, market leader for sure. And basically, look what we have here. We have one big red bar, two big red bars. If we get another big one tomorrow, this is a buy right here. Even number $50. Look at all this support here. This is definitely bounce territory if we get another big red bar. But that's not necessarily likely, but it could happen. And if it does, I think this is a short-term buy. Other than that, maybe we just go sideways for a couple days and then go down farther. We'll see. But this certainly screams of more downside. Usually when you have 2, 3 big red bars like this, 3 is optimal for a bounce. But if you have a couple of big red bars like this, typically the stock's not going to just shoot back up. Typically there's more downside to coming. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can look for a setup and see something we can trade. And if so, we'll put out an alert. Let's take a look at the weekly chart now on CRM. And this is interesting because here we have a really, really big bar down, just like the opposite of this big green day up, week up. And then we consolidated for a little bit, a couple of weeks, and then we moved higher. Well, here we are. This looks like a reversal to me. So I drew in these black lines with an arrow, and this is like the likely pattern that we're going to see over the next few weeks. If we see some sideways to upward movement, here comes that infamous bear flag pattern, and we would get some more downside pressure. And just to confirm that, let's take a look at the longer term on CRM and see what that's telling us. So here I did something a little different. I drew in some Fibonacci retracement numbers, and I took this pivot low here. This is on a monthly chart, so this pivot low is back from the low in 2009, and that's at $5.16. This high, which was in 2012, this high right here, which was right now, this month pretty much, is at 58.45, and it looks like we're topping. We don't know for sure yet until we get confirmation, that we're going to have more downside. But this big tail, this looks like a doji setting up. This looks like a topping tail. So if that happens, we'll get some downside. And the reason I drew in these Fibonacci retracements is right here, this blue line here represents 38.2% retracement, and that's at about the $38 and change level. and that's going to be a good first stop. But keep in mind that this is a monthly chart, and you may not see this $38 level for a year. So who knows? We don't trade like that. I'm just looking for signals of a trend. And when I see a trend on a daily chart and a monthly chart and a weekly chart, all pointed to the same thing, we start to look for trades in those stocks because the odds are in our favor. So let's move on. GE, the reason I brought this up, this is very interesting. All I brought up on GE was a long-term, again, a monthly chart. So it's not something I'm trading. It's just something I'm looking at for a proxy on the market. So again, I drew in these Fibonacci retracements, and we have a low back again in 2009, $5.70, really 73 cents. And the high that was back in 2007 was 42.15. So where are we coming to? We're coming to, ironically enough, a 61.8% retracement of that big move, what turns out to be a multi-year move from the low in 2009. And here we come. Here comes the 200 period moving average, okay? And it looks like this blue line here, just over $28, is the 61.8% retracement. Not too far above that is the 200 period moving average. I mean, this is, by the way, this is a bearish flag pattern, a long-term bearish flag. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. This is a long-term bearish wedge pattern or bearish flag pattern. And guess what? The next move could very well, if this played out, be all the way down, okay, back into single digits. Again, you're talking years for that to take place. But this just tells you, where the big industrial company, General Electric, may or may not be headed. This was nowhere near new highs. Other stocks, plenty of stocks made new highs over the last couple of years. This thing is just now getting to a 2/3 retracement from the high in 07. That's really not a good proxy for the economy, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Just for informational purposes, nothing we can do with that information now other than realize that it's there, and we'll move on from here. So what I wanted to show you now, and this is the last stock we'll go over tonight, which is Spectra Energy SE is the symbol. And right now I have a daily chart, and the reason I wanted to bring this up, because here we go again, and you see these patterns keep repeating over and over and over again, which tells you either we're going to fail this pattern and move back up on all these stocks and indexes I'm showing you with this bearish flag pattern, or we're going to actually play it out and it's going to work. So here we go. We had a move down, pretty decent sized move down. Now we've been consolidating for a couple of weeks. And the next move is most likely down if the probabilities play as they do. And we're looking at around this support here. This line I drew in is around, let's call it 32.5, 32.50 is basically the number. And that would be a good buying opportunity because you'll see a lot of support. You have this pivot low, and this pattern will have played out. The symmetry between this down move, sideways, another down move, you'll be close. Oops, sorry, did it again. You'll be close to the symmetry here. So that just looks like a high probability setup. In fact, you can be short this right now pretty much. And let's go on to the next slide and I'll show you another reason why. Because here we are on the weekly chart, and again, big red bar down, which means that we're probably going to consolidate and go down farther. And what's right underneath here? Right over the $33 number, 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci numbers. So, 50% is 31.88, call it 32 for government work. It's close. So, here we go. Looks like a pattern is playing out that usually results in more downside. So that's kind of the way I see it for now. More to follow. Trade alerts going out to our members. These are some of the things that I just wanted to make everybody aware of. These are some of the questions that came in on some of the stocks like CRM. It's in the news, so a lot of questions come in. So I thought I'd cover it for everybody, and hopefully it was helpful. This is David Frost, mystrategicforecast.com.